What if the love you thought was lost forever suddenly returned? What if the man whose absence shaped an entire story walked back into the world of Heartland? Ty Borden's name is more than just a memory. It's the heartbeat of Amy's journey, and his shadow still lingers at the ranch. But now, whispers spread of something no one thought possible. Ty is alive, and Amy is about to face the most shocking moment of her life. Ty Borden's journey through Heartland is one that fans will never forget. He first arrived at the ranch as a troubled teenager, carrying the weight of a difficult past. The boy who once kept his heart guarded soon grew into a man of strength, loyalty, and love. It was at Heartland that Ty found not only healing but also a family. Over the years, he became more than just a ranch hand. He became Amy's partner, her soulmate, and the father of their daughter, Lyndy. From the very beginning, Ty and Amy's story felt like destiny. They shared a bond that went beyond words, a connection rooted in their love for horses and their desire to help those in need. Together, they faced challenges that tested their limits: disease, danger, and separation, but always found their way back to each other. Each season, fans saw their love deepen, reminding us that even in the hardest times, hope can shine. But then, everything changed. Ty's sudden illness and his heartbreaking death left Amy shattered, and the audience in tears. The ranch felt quieter, emptier, and the absence of Ty was more than just the loss of a character. It was the loss of a heartbeat in the Heartland story. Amy, once full of joy, now carried the weight of grief, forced to raise their daughter alone while trying to keep the spirit of the ranch alive. Ty's legacy, however, never disappeared. His presence lingered in every corner of Heartland: the corral where he worked, the trails he once rode, and the horses he healed. Amy often spoke of him, teaching Lyndy about the father she barely knew. Viewers could see the pain in her eyes, but also the strength she carried, because Ty's love gave her the courage to keep moving forward. And now, as season 19 opens, the whispers of his return bring shockwaves. Could Ty truly be alive after all this time? Was his death not what it seemed? Or is Amy about to face something far more mysterious? The answer could change everything we know about Heartland. Life at Heartland was never the same after Ty was gone. Amy, once the girl whose smile lit up the ranch, found herself waking each day to silence where laughter used to be. The empty chair at the table, the quiet stalls in the barn, and the cold side of the bed reminded her of what she lost. Yet even in her grief, Amy carried herself with quiet strength. She knew she had to keep going, not just for herself, but for Lyndy, the daughter who still needed her. Amy poured her heart into the ranch. Every morning she saddled up, working with the horses that gave her peace and purpose. She treated them not just as animals to train, but as companions who listened without judgment. Each gentle stroke of her hand, each whispered word of comfort, was a reflection of the way Ty once taught her to love and heal. In those moments, Amy wasn't just keeping the ranch alive. She was keeping Ty's memory alive too. But healing is not a straight road. Amy's pain would surface in the smallest moments. A song on the radio that reminded her of their wedding, the sight of a horse galloping free the way Ty used to ride, or even a simple glance at Lyndy's eyes, which carried her father's spark. These reminders cut deep, but they also gave her courage. She wanted Lyndy to grow up knowing the kind of man Ty was: strong, kind, and unbreakable in his love. The community around Heartland rallied for her. Jack offered wisdom, Lou provided support, and the ranch hands worked by her side. Yet no one could truly fill the space that Ty left behind. Amy carried that emptiness like a shadow, always with her, even in moments of joy. Still, she refused to let sorrow define her. With each passing season, she became stronger, not because the pain disappeared, but because she learned how to live with it. And just when it seemed Amy had found her balance, raising her daughter, managing the ranch, and moving forward, life had a way of twisting fate. Unseen to her, the story was not finished. Whispers began to stir, whispers that would shake everything she thought she knew. For Amy, the world was about to tilt once more, and this time, it wouldn't be grief that left her breathless. It would be the impossible, the chance that Ty Borden was alive, It began like any ordinary day at Heartland. The golden light of morning spilled across the fields, horses grazed quietly, and Amy went about her chores with the same steady rhythm she had built over the years. She brushed the horses, mended fences, and spoke softly to Lyndy, trying to fill her daughter's world with warmth. But beneath her calm routine, there was always that ache, the emptiness of a life without Ty. Then it happened. A sound carried across the ranch, hooves striking the ground in a rhythm that felt achingly familiar. At first, Amy thought nothing of it. Riders came and went often. But as she lifted her eyes to the horizon, her breath caught in her throat. A figure appeared in the distance, moving closer, steady and unshaken, as though the earth itself welcomed his return. Amy froze. Her heart raced. The man's posture, the way he held the reins, even the slight tilt of his shoulders, it all felt too familiar, too real to be imagination. She blinked, convinced it was a trick of her grieving mind. But step by step, the rider drew nearer, and the truth she had buried deep within her soul began to claw its way back. Could it be? Was this the impossible? Her mind fought against her heart. She had spent years telling herself Ty was gone, that her future would never hold his voice or his touch again. And yet here he was, or at least someone who looked exactly like him. The world seemed to slow. The horses stopped grazing as though they too sensed the shift in the air. Even the wind seemed to hold its breath. Amy gripped the wooden fence to steady herself. She wanted to run forward, to call out his name, but fear kept her rooted in place. Fear that this was only a cruel dream. Fear that if she reached for him, he would disappear like smoke. And then the rider dismounted. His boots struck the ground. He lifted his head. The sunlight revealed his face, and in that instant Amy's world shattered and rebuilt itself all at once. The man standing before her was Ty Borden. Alive, breathing, real. Shock washed over her, but so did a storm of questions. How? Why? Where had he been all this time? Nothing made sense. All she could do was stare, torn between running into his arms and demanding the truth. For Amy, this was not just a reunion. It was the unraveling of everything she believed. And for Heartland, it was the beginning of a new chapter. One more powerful, more dangerous, and more heartbreaking than anything before. The moment Amy saw Ty standing before her, it was as if time split into two. One half of her wanted to collapse into his arms, to feel the warmth she had missed for so long. The other half screamed that this was impossible, that she must protect herself from another heartbreak. Her breath grew shallow, her hands trembled, and her heart pounded so hard it almost hurt. For years, Amy had built walls around her grief. She taught herself to live without Ty, to carry his memory but not expect his return. She poured all her love into Lyndy, into the ranch, into her family. And now, with Ty's face inches away, those walls cracked. She could hear his voice, steady, calm, achingly familiar, and yet every word left her more confused. Was this really him, or a ghost from her imagination that had taken flesh? Her mind flooded with questions. Where had he been? Why hadn't he come back sooner? Why had she been forced to raise their daughter alone? Each thought struck like lightning, fierce and unrelenting. Anger mixed with joy, grief with hope. She wanted answers, but more than that, she wanted truth. Lyndy's small footsteps broke the silence. Their daughter peeked around Amy's side, her wide eyes locking onto the stranger who looked so much like the father she only knew through stories. For Amy, that moment was the sharpest cut of all. How could she explain this? How could she protect Lyndy if this miracle turned into another loss? Amy stepped back, torn between embracing Ty and shielding her child. She felt a storm of emotions twisting inside her. Relief, love, fear, betrayal, and longing. Her voice trembled as she whispered his name, half a prayer, half a demand for explanation. Ty's eyes held the same tenderness she remembered, but behind them was a weight, a mystery, something unsaid. That was when Amy realized her greatest challenge was not just believing he was alive. It was deciding what to do with the truth. Could she forgive the silence, the lost years, the pain of raising their daughter alone? Could she open her heart again, knowing it might break all over? In that moment, Amy understood something profound. Love is never simple. And the return of Ty Borden was not just a gift, it was a test of her strength, her faith, and her heart's capacity to heal. Ty's return is not just a reunion, it is a ripple that spreads across every corner of Heartland. For Amy, his presence is both a blessing and a storm. She faces a future that is no longer certain. The life she carefully rebuilt, centered around Lyndy, her work, and her family, now stands at a crossroads. If Ty is truly back, what place does he have in the world she created without him? Lyndy, innocent and curious, will ask the hardest questions. She grew up with stories of her father, but now those stories have flesh and breath. For a child, it is a miracle. For Amy, it is a responsibility heavier than any she has carried before. How do you reintroduce a father who was gone for so long? And how do you explain why? The family, too, will be shaken. Jack, the steady anchor of Heartland, may welcome Ty with cautious hope, but even he will demand the truth. Lou, protective and practical, may see danger where others see joy. And the community beyond the ranch will be filled with whispers, doubts, and even anger. How does a man return from the dead without leaving scars behind? But beyond family dynamics lies an even greater question. Why is Ty back now? Was his disappearance truly an accident of fate? Or is there a deeper mystery waiting to be uncovered? Each answer could change the direction of the ranch, the family, and the legacy of Heartland forever. For Amy, the path forward will not be smooth. She must decide whether to let go of the walls she built or to keep protecting her heart. She must balance forgiveness with accountability, hope with caution, love with pain. Every choice she makes will shape not only her future, but also Lyndy's. Season 19 does not open with peace. It opens with fire. Ty's return is the spark that will ignite conflict, healing, and discovery. Heartland's story has always been about family, resilience, and love. But now, it is about something even deeper. What happens when the impossible becomes real, and the future is rewritten in ways no one could have imagined? And as the dust settles over the ranch, one question will echo louder than any other. Will Ty and Amy's love survive a second chance? Or will this miracle tear them apart once more? The ranch has seen joy, loss, and miracles before, but nothing as earth-shaking as this. Ty's return is not simply the closing of an old wound, it is the opening of a new one. Every step Amy takes from here on will be heavy with questions. Can she trust him again? Can their love survive the silence of the years? Or will the truth about his absence become the very thing that destroys them? The future of Heartland now hangs in a fragile balance. One moment of reunion could spark healing, but just as easily, it could spark division. Will Amy's heart lead her back into Ty's arms, or will fear hold her back? And what about Lyndy? Will she finally have the father she always dreamed of? Or will she learn that even miracles come with shadows? For the audience, the story has only just begun. Every glance, every word, every choice will matter. Heartland Season 19 isn't just about survival. It's about destiny, about testing whether love is strong enough to conquer time, grief, and mystery. So now the question is yours. If Ty Borden truly lives, what should happen next? Should Amy open her heart or guard it? Should the family embrace this miracle or demand answers that could shatter them all? The future of Heartland will not be written in silence. It will be written in the choices we long to see, the reunions we dream about, and the risks we fear the most. What do you think? Is Ty's return the beginning of healing, or the start of heartbreak all over again? Share your thoughts below, because this is not just Amy's story. It's a story every Heartland fan is about to live through. In the world of Heartland, nothing is ever simple. Love can heal, but it can also test. Family can unite, but it can also divide. And sometimes, the past refuses to stay buried. Ty Borden's return is more than just a twist. It is a reminder that life is unpredictable, fragile, and full of second chances we never saw coming. Amy stands at a crossroads. One path is familiar, the life she has built, strong and steady without Ty. The other is filled with uncertainty, a future that demands faith, forgiveness, and the courage to open her heart once more. No matter which path she chooses, the ranch will never be the same again. For fans, Season 19 promises to be a storm of emotions. Joy, anger, hope, and fear woven into every frame. The story has grown beyond the walls of Heartland itself. It has become a reflection of our own lives, reminding us that grief and love often walk hand in hand. And now, the stage is set. Ty is alive. Amy is shocked. The family is bracing for what comes next. This is not just another chapter. This is the beginning of a new legacy. So as the sun sets over the ranch and the winds of change sweep across the fields, one question remains. Will the return of Ty Borden heal the heart of Heartland, or will it break it all over again? The answer lies ahead in Season 19.